just feels like it's gonna.
Well, let's do it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off.
Gander.
Let's talk about the those matchups in the top 25 this weekend, Sean. We will start. We got 3 Friday games this week.
Unreal.
If you're not working, get in front of your TVs because we got college football, we got NFL football. We start 3:30 Eastern time on Friday on ABC. It is the number 4 Georgia Bulldogs, and I do have Georgia. They are 10-1. They are a 13.5-point road favorite at number 23 Georgia Tech, who is 9-2. Your over/under on this one, Sean, is 59.5.
Yeah, I'd like to make a push for maybe having a few Georgia ones so we don't know what's coming. You could easily on that midnight train to Georgia. I'd love that. But no qualms with Ray. Look, Georgia Tech, you're an ACC team, so no one really knows what to think. You're ranked. Good for you guys. You got great uniforms, nice color scheme. I'm sure you got a whole bunch of real solid players down there. Here's the bad news. While you're out there celebrating your ranking and, hey, we're having a pretty good season, you're about to get a visit from, like, arguably the team in college football that just for some reason can't beat Alabama and otherwise beats everyone else. You're everyone else. I don't think this game is going to be close. I've seen some fight out of Georgia Tech, but nothing that shows me that they would scare Georgia for 4 quarters. If the rivalry card plays in, I would say 13.5 that could be your play. If you're really a sick gambler and you want to take Georgia Tech to cover 13.5, there's going to be a lot of red. But a degenerate. There's going to be a lot of red shirts at that game. I don't think it's going to feel like a Georgia Tech home game. I say Georgia, in what feels like a home game, steamrolls Georgia Tech. I'm taking them with the points, cover it all, and I'm taking the under. I don't think Georgia Tech scores enough points to push 60. I actually
apologize. This one is at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where the
okay. So neutral site,
it's
definitely.
It's not even a home game for Georgia.
Nope, definitely a Georgia home game. Then
yeah,
you don't even get the benefit of that. So yeah, Georgia cover everything, but keep it under because Georgia Tech, it's going to be too big of a show for them, I think.
I might go a slight over because I think Georgia might score enough that like the 7 that Georgia Tech scores will be enough to push it over. But that's
something in the 50-13 realm. Something like that.
That's a tight line. I think I would probably stay away from that. Otherwise, I think you can take Georgia comfortably. Like Georgia Tech probably shouldn't even have been ranked. Like this was one that I had on my maybe list because I didn't know that if the committee was going to keep them in. They did. They won't be here next week. Georgia Tech's going to get mauled. Georgia easily, a slight over. Devin has Georgia in the over as well. I keep forgetting. Let me. Georgia. Good job. All right. Then we go 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. It's the number 3 Texas A&M. They are 11-0, a 2.5-point road favorite at number 16 Texas, who is 8-3. 51.5 is your over/under, Sean.
2.5.
That's disrespectful to Texas.
I would like Texas in the betting lines if they had made this spread what it should be. If this was I'd say 6 to 7.5 point spread for A&M on the road, it would feel more realistic. And I'd be like, Texas is probably going to keep this close and cover it. I think what you said about Coach Freeman and like willing to throw out some spite and like just really rub it in the faces of some people and not take your foot off the gas. I think A&M in the middle of this run has shown a couple examples of that, and I think this could be another opportunity for it. I would not be surprised. Just the way the college football gods have worked this year and in our lifetime, and how much they wear the horns, and they love Texas wherever those gods live. I would not be surprised if Texas wins this game. So Matthew McConaughey, don't panic. You might still get to say it. but I don't see any reason with it. There it is. I don't see any reason with basically an even pick'em to not take Texas and A&M in this. And I wouldn't be surprised if that line does spread out by the end of the week, because I think people are going to feel the same way. Give me A&M to easily cover 2.5. But this one, I feel points, and I'm going to take the over at 51.5.
See, I'm on the opposite on that. I think Texas A&M, they've had a couple of scares this year, and I think the Texas offense, albeit against lesser than opponents, has kind of come alive recently. I think Texas A&M is going to drop a game plan to try and shut them down, try and confuse Arch Manning in this offense. So I think we're going to stay under, and I think Texas A&M is going to try and control the ball on their offensive side as well. That spread is so small that I have to take Texas A&M. They're going to win this football game. They're going to go to the SEC championship. They're going to go to 12-0 for the first time, I think, since Johnny Football was there. They're having a tremendous season.
Get out your finger guns, kids.
Give me Texas A&M, but the under. Devin agrees with me there on that one. Let's go to Friday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time on Fox. This is the game we had to add in. Number 25, Arizona. They are 8-3 and a 2.5-point road favorite. So if you're picking up a pattern, road favorites is just that. In these games, they are a 2.5-point road favorite at number 20, Arizona State, who is 8-3 as well. You're over under 48.5.
All right, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I know very little about the University of Arizona's current football team, but I do know this. I do know that the University of Arizona kept Nick Foles in football, got him out of Michigan State and Lansing, gave him a place to play, and ultimately gave Philadelphia their savior and saving grace. And I am going to always trust the school that has that man in his corner. Arizona State, we all thought they were just going to presumably just be as good or as dominant as they were last year on that schedule, and it has not been the case. And I say, give me the hot rising Arizona Wildcats, the Nick Foleses. Give me them to cover, and that spread sounds low, and that game's in the West, and it's at night, and the ball flies at night. I say take the over on that one, no brainer.
Yeah, I mean this is, I don't care that it's in the Big 12 now. This is Pac-12 football. But bet the over, especially if it's under 50. I'll take that. And Arizona has been the hot team. Arizona State has a tendency to crack in these big games, and when the lights are shining bright. So I'm going to take Arizona to keep winning, not for any of that Nick Foles Eagles nonsense, but I will take them to I guess not pull the upset with being the road favorite there. Yes. But I would definitely take the over. Devin has Arizona and the over as well. Now we move to Saturday and what could be a cold and snowy Ann Arbor, shades of 2021 possibly all over again. But it is number 1 Ohio State. They are 11-0, a 10-point road favorite at number 15 Michigan, who is 9-2. Although you wouldn't believe that the way that some Michigan fans are talking about their team and their coaching staff. Your over-under on this one, Big Noon on Fox, is 44.5.
Well, that I'd assume that over-under number has factored in the weather.
I would believe.
I would think that would be the case. Now, rough weather, at first glance should benefit Michigan. All but being, potentially taking some of the big playability out of Day's game plan for the Buckeyes. But the other big thing to remember is in those games, a lot of times it's who's bigger, who's stronger, who's been more effective in the trenches, because it's going to be a lot of running. And I understand Michigan probably does benefit, from having to run the football. But I feel like in the long run, it may feel the opposite by game's end, where you're like, wow, Ohio State just was bigger and stronger and just shoved these guys around and just fought through a victory. Now, 10 points it feels like the over-under acknowledges the weather. The spread does not. I don't think. I feel like in a bad weather game, this is going to be back and forth, and there's not going to be points scored on every possession. That's for sure. So to say Ohio State's going to win by 10, I am going to take Michigan to cover. But I ultimately think Ohio State wins this game. I feel like it's going to be in that 7 to 10 range. I think there's a good chance if it holds at 10, which I'm sure it won't, that it pushes at 10. I think that's a very realistic chance. But give me Michigan, I guess, for now. And that 44.5, I'm going to side with the weather, and I'm going to take the under.
Yeah, I think the under is the play. And I think if you're Michigan, and if you want to have a chance to win in this game, which they do have a chance to win.
Sure.
See last year's game as proof that, a team that is not as good has a chance to win in these games. But you have to keep Ohio State from scoring.
Yeah, and the only reason I can't, and I would not be surprised if Ohio State managed to cover the game, because like we talked about earlier in the year, that for Day, this is the game that they've been playing for all year. It's not the ones coming up in the next few weeks. They have those, right? Like they've done that, and sure, we'd love to do it again, but hearing the loss to Michigan all year, there's no way this wasn't the circle on their schedule of like at least get this one. So I imagine they'll pull out any stops they can, bad weather or not.
Right, absolutely. But when you look at their schedule, and this may lead to why there's a 10-point spread. The last time that Ohio State won a game by less than 10 was week 1 versus Texas. Right? But again, it's the last time they've been quote unquote tested as well.
Right.
Look, it's become an annual tradition for me to be the one on this show to predict Michigan to beat Ohio State, and I'm going to continue to do that. Not only does Michigan cover the 10, but Michigan wins this game because for whatever reason, whether it's just it's there's that style of play, things are in their favor. Michigan kind of owns Ryan Day at this point, and I think that continues this Saturday in Ann Arbor. I think he's going to look across that field and he's going to see that winged helmet again, and he's just going to go through all of those motions that have gotten to him the past 4 years, and it's everything's been about this game and about this moment, and for whatever reason, they can't rise above it, and I think that continues. So give me Michigan in this one.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
All right, then we move to where we stay at noon, but we move over to ABC. It is the number 12 Hurricanes of
Miami!
They are a 7-point road favorite at 9-2 at number 22 Pitt, who is 8-3. Your over-under on this one, Sean, is 50.5.
That's a big number. I'm looking at it because like all day since seeing this on the slate, potentially I've been ready to just Miami. I was like, look, Miami. I had them in my playoff. I had them winning the ACC. I had and it all could happen if they win this game. Just kind of wander in and let's go get them. But man, Pitt last week coming back from that loss the week before looked strong again, albeit against the ACC. 6.5. No, I think Miami wants to prove something. I'll take Miami. I hate taking Miami, but I also don't like Pittsburgh. So go Miami cover and 50.5. If Miami's going to cover that 6.5, then I'm going to say everything pushes over. Then I'll take the over.
Very good. Devin had Michigan in the over in the last one. He has Pitt in the under on this one. I
would love it if he's right. I would absolutely.
Some people might argue that Notre Dame wants Pitt or Miami to remain competitive. I don't think Notre Dame needs anything from anybody at this point besides to win. And the fact that Notre Dame's still ranked above Miami, still ranked above Alabama, that tells me what I know this committee feels about Notre Dame. So after just hearing this insufferable honking for the last 2+ weeks by Miami fans and media members and the ACC themselves. No, Miami, get out of here.
Screw you.
I'm sick of it. Pitt wins outright, and I will take the over. I think they're kick their ass.
It would make me so happy. I've been high enough on Miami all year. I can't.
And especially because 2 weeks ago, Notre Dame went into that same stadium and beat the brakes off of Pitt. And that, like, to me, that justifies more than what happened in week 1. Because it's more about where the teams are now versus where they were 12 weeks ago. So usually I'm an eat shit Pitt household. This weekend, let's go.
You know what?
Pitt.
You've convinced me.
Let's go.
If this podcast can't be united, then no one can. Switch my pick.
There we go.
Pitt to cover and to win.
Get it done.
Screw you, Miami. I'm going to attribute it to you. Got all this extra energy going to. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. That means you're not focused on Pitt, and they're going to embarrass you.
Exactly.
Go Pitt.
Exactly. Let's go. You're not going to hear that from us.
This is the only week. This is the one you get. Let's go Pitt.
One. There you go. All right, and the last one we have for this week, number 14 Vanderbilt. They are 9-2, traveling to number 19 Tennessee, 8-3, and the only home favorite in these matchups as a 3-point favorite at Neyland Stadium. You're over/under, and this ain't your dad's SEC. 65.5.
Jesus. All right. I have been high on Vanderbilt all year. I've been excited about Vanderbilt. I think it's an exciting story. I think anytime a team called the Commodores is doing well, that's exciting. And you've had a good year. You really have. But it's been a fairly untested run, I think, for an SEC schedule. I think that's helped. Tennessee, on the other hand, has just silently crept along to a 9-3 to an 8-3 record. We really haven't predicted a lot of their games.
Nope.
But that Tennessee is a very talented football team, and anytime you're talking about a game in Knoxville, there's going to be a lot of noise there, and there's going to be a lot of people there. This is going to be a tough one for Vanderbilt to pull out, and because of that, I'm going to take Tennessee, and I think if I'm Tennessee at home, 2.5 to me feels light too. So I take them to cover 2.5 easily. And if they like a lot of points, so do I. Give me the over at 65.5.
Wow. Vanderbilt is a team that has benefited from the fact that they've played a lot of bad teams at the right time, because they played South Carolina when they were still ranked 11th. They played LSU when they were still ranked 10th. They played Missouri when they were still ranked 15th. Those are all three at the time top 10.
Right, those were big wins. Yeah.
Those are big wins. We've come to learn those wins were not nearly as good as people thought they were. When they beat Alabama, or when they lost to Alabama, it looked good because it was like a week after the Alabama had beaten Georgia and started coming back alive. But we've learned Alabama is kind of mid. We've learned that this year. They lost to Texas, who we learned is not very good. Tennessee, they've lost the 3 good games on their schedule. They lost to Georgia, Alabama, and Oklahoma. Otherwise, they beat a whole lot of nobodies, sometimes not by a lot. So I think you're looking at 2 kind of middle-of-the-road teams. That's exactly what these teams are. But
I think you're looking at one that's getting overlooked and another one that might be getting a bit overhyped. I think that's why, for me, Tennessee was the answer there.
Yeah, and I think so too. When you're looking at 2 teams that I feel like are kind of the same, I'm going to lean on the home team. I'm going to lean on the favorite, who are the same team, and I'm going to lean on, again, the same team that has what has been many times described as the hardest, if not one of the hardest environments to go into as a visiting team.
Oh, it's a madhouse.
Give me Tennessee in this one, and I'm not as brave as you are. I'm not taking the over. It'll be a slight under. I do think there's going to be a lot of points, but 65.5 is quite a lot. Devin has Vanderbilt, and most definitely the under, he says. But
I I wouldn't be surprised if it hits 65 and 2/3 of them are Tennessee's.
Yeah,
they're fast. They
fast.
They are big play capable, and I would not be surprised to see a handful of them this week.
Yeah, and those can very easily, if Vanderbilt can answer, that's how you hit the over. But I would stay away. I would stay away from that.
By all means, don't bet that number.
Don't bet that number. Stay away from that number. But that's where we leave college football. Last weekend of the regular season. I cannot believe we're saying that. But savor it while it's here. You have 2 days of college football this weekend to enjoy. I was actually watching a little bit of Western and Eastern Michigan on the gray field up there in Michigan this evening before we went live.